Plan quality management, planning process of project quality management knowledge area. And this process gives us quality management plan. You may think that I have been working as a project manager and I never made quality management plan. So what is this? Now, if you are working on a small or a medium-sized project, you may not realize that what this quality management plan is all about, because your organization may be providing you set of rules, set of templates, set of matrices which you need to follow, and that governs in general a project quality needs or a quality management in your project. But if you are working on a complex project where a lot of things is dependent on a customer or a sponsor, in that particular case, a project quality management has to be looked into as a separate or a distinct process or a focused area. Now, see, project is working inside the bigger organization. You are not working in isolation, but whatever you are producing should be compliant with overall organization's quality philosophy and vision, because the organization has to support that product or an outcome of a project for long term. So the project quality management, a knowledge area, ensures that project meets the overall the quality vision and guideline of the organization. Since we define quality as a conformance to the requirement, how well we conform to the requirement. So we start, when we have to make a quality management plan, we look at the requirement first. Let's look at plan quality management inputs. Project management plan, because it has a critical information which is called scope baseline. Scope baseline covers the constraints which are required or which the customer feels are important for the overall outcome or a product which we would be delivering. The other input we need to take in order to identify the requirement is requirement documents. Now, in a PMP, besides scope, we also need to look into the planning approach, because PMP also gives us, a project management plan also gives us details related to life cycle or detail related to overall planning approach of a project, which is required because we are planning quality management here. These two provides us expectation Now we also need to look into who are our stakeholders, because we may need to interact and identify their expectations for quality. So we need to look at stakeholder register, and we also need to look at risk register, because if you have a high risk, if you fail meeting a quality criteria, then your quality management approach will change. For example, if the customer, this particular contract or a project involves $1 million penalty on a non-conformance of a given quality parameter, your complete approach for quality planning would be different. So we need to look at risk registers and stakeholder register, because we are planning about quality. And our standard inputs, organization process assets, and enterprise environmental factor would be relevant here, because as I said, the project is working in an environment of organization as well as industry. Industry is also a big stakeholder. The external environment is also a big stakeholder. Whatever we are producing should be in compliance with government and industrial norm, whatever compliances we are following. So we need to look into them. Organization process assets gives us a defined checklist. As I was talking about, if you have a small project, you may not realize that you are just following organization process assets and your quality get managed, because organization process assets will be providing default procedures, checklists and template for performing work. Now these are the inputs. So what we do, we need to identify that the outcome of this is quality management plan and process improvement plan. everything costs. So including a quality related activity in a project will also cost you some money. So let us look at cost of quality. So first tool and technique which we are discussing in plant quality management is cost of quality. Now, while you are doing work, say while you are planning or designing and then further executing, if you are involving activities or steps which ensure that your outcome would be compatible with the quality requirements, you would be incurring cost. And this section, because it's happening along with the execution, is called assurance. So you start with the planning, especially while doing the designing and execution, you assure that your outcome would be quality compliant. Now after this, you have a process called quality control. Quality control is an inspection process, and we do this inspection in order to ensure that our customer does not get a non-conform product. So here a project team is involved and verifying the deliverable which is coming from execution against requirement which was given by customer and verifying that is it meeting. If it is meeting, they say go ahead and it goes to your customer. Now if customer is not happy about it, he may reject it. Now this section is called cost of conformance. Now the amount of money you are spending in quality activities to ensure that your deliverable is meeting the expected outcomes or expected criteria is a cost of conformance. If your quality control department finds something that it is not as per the requirement, then you end up doing rework. Or you may need to throw away that outcome, scrap. It depends upon the project. So it may generate rework, it may generate scrap because those items or deliverables cannot be used. This section is called cost of non-conformance. Now this was a non-conformance cost of internal in nature, because we have identified it before giving it to the customer. If customer rejects it or if customer feel unhappy about it, then we got an external non-conformance cost. So this one is also a cost of non-conformance, and it is coming in the form of a warranty expenses, warranty, replacement, or dissatisfied customer, or penalty. So when we are talking about quality, cost of quality, we have two type of components: conformance cost and non-conformance cost. The second tool of plant quality management talks about cost benefit analysis. Now, we understood the cost of conformance and we understood cost of non-conformance. Now we can take a call how much money we should spend in conformance activities so that we can save non-conformance cost. So if you have a better quality product, your non-conformance cost will go down, plus you may get a good customer satisfaction and customer reputation that will increase your market segment. But how much money you should spend in a conformance? This is a decision an organization and a project manager along with the project team has to take. because you may not be able to spend 10 rounds of money in 10 rounds of testing for making sure that customer does not get any defect out of our products, because here also you are spending money. It depends what is the cost of non-conformance. If you are developing a simple product, for example a website, your non-conformance cost, a website of not mission critical application, your non-conformance cost may not be that high. Customer can expect that there could be few bugs, he can report and you can fix them. But if you are making a mission critical website, a banking website or a stock exchange website, a one non-conformance can spoil your customer's business and he may charge you a big penalty for that. So in that case, your non-conformance cost goes very high. So for a project, you need to identify how much money I am spending and what all benefit I can expect, or a risk removal benefit I can expect out of it. On that basis, we decide that what kind of rigor, what kind of activities we want to recommend to quality control and quality assurance processes so that we get maximum or optimum output out of it. We also use 7 basic quality tools. In our previous video, we spoke about these tools at length. These tools like flowchart, Ishikawa diagram or a fishbone diagram, scatter diagram. We discussed these 7 tools in our previous discussion. So all these tools are relevant, and they are relevant for all our quality management knowledge area. So in project quality management, all the processes would be using these 7 basic quality tools. Plus, we may use tools like benchmarking. Now, what is benchmarking? We may benchmark our project outcome against an established product. Client may be using another project, another product already, and he wants that whatever we produce should be at least of that quality. We may use some industrial benchmarks which are available for our type of work. So benchmark in simple language is a reference point which is given or expected as a good reference, and we try to make our deliverable at least comparable with those benchmark. Another tool which we can use here is design of experiment, also known as DOE, design of experiment. Now what is this? It's a statistical tool where we are trying to play with multiple variables and try to identify what is the best combination we can pick. Now in plant quality management process, this tool is something to do with identifying right quality processes or right quality activities, because we need to do a cost benefit analysis. So on the basis of various type of things we can do to assure a better quality product, we may play with various variables like doing some upfront or a preventive design implementation to make sure that things work, the deliverable are adhering to the quality, or doing one more round of inspection. So we have multiple alternatives. Out of those alternatives, we identify which one influences the best and which one costs how much. So on the basis of their influence and all the basis of expenses, we can identify a right set of active processes which we need to ensure quality. So that is where the design of experiment play a role. We may use statistical sampling. Now, depending upon the project, in some time you may have a situation where you cannot check the complete deliverable. You need to take some subset of or a sample of deliverable to assure that things are as per the requirement. So what kind of sampling approach you are going to take? So statistical sampling is a technique which helps us in identifying for our project what all statistical sampling methods we can use. Along with this, we may use additional quality planning tool. Actually, there is no limit of using tools because the goal is we need to identify a best quality management plan for our project. Now, these additional planning tool, additional quality planning tool are like in PMBOK, the tools like affinity diagram, brainstorming, or nominal group thinking, can be used. Now, what is affinity diagram? What is brainstorming? It is like we identify a group of samples and try to group them in a way where categorize them. So for example, we have various type of problems. We make a grouping of those problems and identify which all problems are in an affinity. We may use brainstorming to identify out of various options or looking at the costs and benefits, which one will work best for us. A nominal group thinking is a type of summarizing or taking a prioritization or a voting on a brainstorming results. So we can use various group thinkings to identify a best quality management approach for our project, and these all group thinkings we can apply by doing meetings. Now, meetings would be another tool and technique of our plant quality management process. So we did good amount of analysis of our quality needs, of our quality risks, of our quality costs, and on the basis of this good amount of analysis, we come up with quality management plan. As all plans should do, they should tell us how are we going to execute remaining processes of project quality management. Like how are we going to do assurance, or how are we going to do control. So plant quality management should have these guidelines. So in point of assurance, what all metrics we will use, who is responsible for assuring things, what kind of meetings we are going to conduct, at what frequency, to ensure that things are as per given targets or as per expected quality management plan. In control, we can talk about which all deliverables are candidate for project quality control activity, at what frequency we are going to do a quality check, what kind of reports we are going to produce out of these control activities. So quality management plan will give us the complete framework for our project quality management. The second output is a process improvement plan. Now, process improvement plan is looked at, we define the processes which are involved in a project. So first we make a process boundary. Then we talk about process configuration, means what all steps should be taken in a process. Then we talk about process metrics. And then we talk how are we going to improve them. Now, you may be knowing 47 PMBOK processes, but when we talk about process improvement plan, we are going beyond PMBOK processes. We are primarily focusing on product processes. the core design, development, implementation processes which you have in your project may require a special dedicated matrix, because these processes are very important for the success of your project. So you may have a metric, a plan which defines that in practice how I really develop my deliverable, and what is the improvement plan, so that I can deliver a deliverable which are always adhering to a quality requirements. So that all things is documented in a process improvement plan. Quality metrics. So we get quality metrics. What is quality metrics? A quality metrics is like a measurement standards. We say that these are the measurable things we would be measuring in order to ensure or monitor a quality in our project. So there could be various type of metrics. There could be a process metric, the process improvement plan which is talking about the process metrics. There could be a project level metrics like schedule performance index, cost performance index, earned value management. There could be a project level matrices. We may also have a business level matrices like return on investment, customer satisfaction, because we are doing acceptance in between. So we identify what all quality metrics would be relevant for our project. We define like earned value management, what kind of threshold they should be adhering to, and these metrics will get measures while doing assurance and quality control. Quality checklist. Now good amount of checklist would be coming from your organization process assets, because organization would be trained, especially when you are doing these kind of project quite regularly, because organization might be having good database of these checklists. But finally, for your project, you need to have your own final checklist. You may adapt significant amount of the checklist from your organization, but you may introduce your own checklist to ensure that your project is meeting all these quality requirements. After this, you may update some of the project documents. So standardly, a lot of time he says update project documents. Not limited to risk, issues, activities, but yeah, some of the project documents get updated on the basis of the quality management plan we prepare. So in summary, a process which gives us quality management plan and process improvement plan, two plans, and both of these plans are a subsidiary plan of project management plan.